I had this daydream about a pair of bored alien surveyors whose job it is to go out in the universe and catalog planets that have life on them. And I was imagining that they picked Earth, and the reason that they picked Earth is that it has oxygen in the atmosphere, and a steady amount, about 21%. And that would be meaningful because oxygen is really reactive. And unless you have something making oxygen, oxygen in the atmosphere is going to disappear. So I think that would be the reason that they'd pick Earth to come and survey. And I picture these kind of jaded space travelers checking out the planet and categorizing what they find here. They've seen it all before. What might they find interesting? And I think what they'd find interesting was that there were all these things that we call plants and all these things that we call animals. But at core, they really are elaborations of something that our cells contain, and those are the organelles called chloroplasts and mitochondria. And these are tremendously important and interesting intracellular entities. Part of the reason they're so fascinating is that they're really visitors in our cells. They are bacteria-sized, and they have their own DNA. And while our chromosomes are in our nucleus, they have it inside the little mitochondria and chloroplasts. And they actually, in cooperation with our cells, make copies of themselves. So they are our guests, and they're essential guests in our cells. Now, what the chloroplasts do is take sunlight energy and make sugars and oxygen. So they are the source of our atmospheric oxygen that's at a stable level. And when you look at the equation for photosynthesis, you see the inputs and the outputs. And what's fascinating is that we have, in all animals, the intracellular mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, they call them. And these have their own DNA too. And they are using exactly what photosynthesis makes. We need the sugars and the oxygen and the energy that's in the sugars in order to support our cells and our lives. And all animals are the same that way. Everybody's got mitochondria, and plants have both chloroplasts and mitochondria. And it's fascinating to think about when you think of a human and the systems that we have, the respiratory system and the circulatory system, the heart and the vessels and the digestive systems. What are they there for? They're there ultimately just because we have mitochondria, and we take in the oxygen and we take in the food, and there's no place else we can use this stuff to make energy except in these little packets inside all our cells that convert those sugars using oxygen into the energy that we need to survive. We're built around the presence of these tiny, ancient organelles.